Hey you guys, it's me, Adam Deshawn. I am here with a video. I'm here with some updates, and I want to talk about some different things. You guys, I have been doing some YouTube lives, but like a lot of you guys probably have not been able to tune in. But I am here with another video. I've got my thoughts together, and I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to discuss some things. So the biggest questions that I have been asked lately are like differences between like LPN, RN, and BSN as far as pay, schooling, and where do they work. First off though, I'm gonna give you guys an update about me and what is going on with my own personal life. So I am done with the nursing. Well, okay, I'm not done with the nursing home, but I have been working at the hospital that I was telling you guys about. I have been working there now for a month and a half. So 1 month and like 2 weeks. I finally put in my 2 weeks. I'm still PRN or part-time at the nursing home. I actually just worked there probably the other day. I worked there the other day just because like at the hospital we've been doing 12-hour shifts. So I have like a lot of time off during the week. Like I'm used to working like 5 and 6 days a week because I was working 8-hour shifts. That's down to like only working like 3 days a week. So I have like 4 days off, maybe sometimes 5 or 6 days off. So I've still been going to the nursing home, working like part-time, like because if I'm off work, I'm gonna be spending money. I'm gonna be shopping, I'm gonna be spending a whole bunch of money, I'm gonna be traveling. So I was like, you know what? To beat these days for me being off, just go to the nursing home. So I've been at the hospital now for like a month and a half, and it's different, but I'm really enjoying it. I finally, not saying that I didn't feel like a nurse before, but it just feels like this is what I went to school for. You know, I think the nursing home or the long-term care, everything became so routine and so just, you know, not even thinking about the stuff. So now I'm critically thinking about stuff. I'm using those things that I learned in nursing school, like, you know, IV meds and IV compatibility and doing a lot of teaching and procedures that I need to be educating the patient about. So it's like really putting my knowledge to test. So, but it's so fun. It's so exciting. I actually feel like a nurse. Not that I didn't feel like one before, but I really feel like I'm making differences and just teaching and just it's different. It is so different. I love long-term care and I love the nursing home. And I feel like I probably will go back to that later in life. But right now it is such a new, refreshing thing. You know, even though I clinicaled in a hospital for LPN and RN, but there's something different about being by yourself and getting paid for it. So it's like it's really exciting. A lot of differences, a lot of, I'm still technically in orientation at the hospital now, but I've been really independent with my preceptor, so she's been really letting me do, because I am an experienced nurse. So she's been letting me do a whole lot on my own. She feels confident in me. I feel confident in myself now that I've been there a month and a half. It wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I did have to learn a new computer system, but that is, and I hate this computer system, by the way, but that's just learning. I'm learning. I'm taking it one day at a time. Everyone is really helpful at the hospital. So I'm really enjoying it. I am really enjoying it. Let me back it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I'm really enjoying it. So, okay, so get to the subject at hand. What does it do? I had to make me out a little worksheet. You guys can't see that. It's too bright. So, the differences between LPN, RN, and a RN with her bachelor's, his or her bachelor's degree. Let's start at the top. Well, yeah, at the top. LPN. LPN stands for a licensed practical nurse. If you're more on the West Coast, you may be it's called an LVN, a licensed vocational nurse. Both of them are the same. They just have different terminology. When I discuss things, I'm going to discuss things here in Tennessee. Okay, what I've learned, the things that I've been aware of in Tennessee. Okay, pay. LPNs make pretty good money. I started out as an LPN, this was back in 2012, mind you, I was making $16 an hour. Because I'm going to get real technical with it, except for telling y'all what I make now, because that ain't none of your business. But I'm going to be talking about, like, numbers. Because I know a lot of people don't talk about numbers, as far as, like, they give you a really wide range. I'm going to tell you guys as much information as I can and what I know. When I started as an LPN back in 2012 in Tennessee, I was making $16 an hour, which at that time, I was like, that is pretty good damn money. That is a lot of money. Granted, I was working in the nursing home. So, but I've heard LPNs where I live in the Tennessee area making anywhere from like $15 to like $25 an hour. I have heard, I've known LPNs that make like 20 some odd dollars an hour. And it all depends on where you work. Where do schooling, how much schooling do LPNs need? Usually most LPN programs are anywhere from 12 to 16 months or from 12 to 18 months. LPN programs are really pushing towards the little bit longer term. They're going. I know several of them that are 18-month programs now. Mine was just a 12-month program. It was a very compact, very intense, very busy program, which I think is why they're extending a lot of the LPN programs to 18 months. But I know most programs, most of them are 12 months. Where do LPNs work? LPNs work at a variety of places. LPNs work in clinics, nursing homes. A lot of them do home health, correctional nursing. Some hospitals still hire LPNs. That's not as relevant now. A lot of hospitals are pushing more towards just having RNs on staff, but there are some in Jackson, where I come from, Jackson, Tennessee. They were still hiring LPNs. So LPNs can work 1,000,001 places. School nurses. LPNs are still highly utilized. What do LPNs do at work? Well, the differences between an LPN and an RN, depending on where you work, most of the direct differences between LPNs and RNs are basically RNs need to assess. A lot of the clinical differences come with a lot of IV therapy. Clinically differences. Now, technically, LPNs cannot assess. They cannot be the first to assess. They can monitor, but they cannot assess. That's one thing I've always learned. That's one thing I've learned in the differences and the differences in my own roles, me being an LPN and also me transitioning to an RN. RNs are more the assessment. LPNs do more of monitoring. That's kind of a short way to sum up the differences between LPN and RN. And it also depends on where you work. Okay, let's go right over into RN. RN pay. Okay, so RNs make... I've heard RNs, this is what I've heard. I'm not going to tell you how much I started. Well, I guess I can. When I first got out of school as a registered nurse, I was making $23 an hour, and that's in Tennessee. That's $23, that's a bridge. And that's them not considering my previous LPN experience. So, fresh out of school, I was making $23 an hour. I'm not going to tell you what I make now because that ain't none of your business. But I have heard RNs making anywhere from... like I said, the lowest I've heard was like $22 an hour. I've heard RNs making as much as $35 to $40 an hour. That's in Tennessee. Depending on where you work, depending on your experience, that's how much money you're going to make, from what I've heard. Schooling. How much schooling do RNs need? Okay, so usually most associate degree RN programs are 2-year programs. Now, if you're doing a bridge program like I did from LPN to RN, it's usually about a year. Honestly, it's still 2 years, and I'm going to tell you why it's still 2 years regardless if you're an LPN or not. I had to do just about a whole year of prerequisite courses in order to be considered for my RN program. So that took me a whole year to complete on top of the actual program. Now, I was only in a program for a year, but the prerequisite courses took me just about a year to complete. So regardless if you're an LPN or an RN, regardless if you're an LPN or not, to become a registered nurse, it is generally going to take you about 2 years to complete. Where do RNs work? Oh, RNs work everywhere. They are everywhere. They work in, like I said, nursing homes, home health, hospitals, clinics, dialysis, school nursing, correctional nursing. I know an RN that works part-time at a hotel. Believe it or not, there's an RN on staff at the hotel that she works at. She works in the morning. She's only there from like 8 to 12, but still, there's RN. There's an RN in a lot of hotels. There's occupational nursing where you help with workers' comp claims and help do physicals for different types of jobs. There are so many places that RNs can work that I probably don't even know about. Legal nursing. It's just a case management. MDS. RNs, once you become a registered nurse, the possibilities are honestly endless, in my opinion. Now, let's go on over to BSN, that RN with her BSN. Okay. So, pay really depends on what you're doing with as a bachelor degree prepared nurse. So me being that I just recently got my bachelor's degree in this year, really nothing changed. Really nothing changed because the role that I acquired did not have a lot of responsibility far as the differences between an RN and a RN with her bachelor's degree. Okay. Because I am still a floor nurse, a staff nurse. Some hospitals or some places will pay you. Now, this is talking about nurses that are still bedside, working the floor. You know, some places will pay you a little bit more. From what I've heard, there's only a difference in maybe a few cents to $1. Now, listen to this piece. So when I completed my bachelor's degree, I was still working at the nursing home. Went to my administrator, asked him, I said, "Hey, sir, you know I'm an RN, have been an RN at that point for like 2 years. I just completed my bachelor's degree, and I was wondering if there's any more, I would also like to be compensated for my advanced degree." So he congratulated me on completing my bachelor's degree. He was so proud and so happy for me, but didn't give me a damn cent. Just so you know. So, depending on what you're doing, bachelor's degree may or may not increase your pay. Because it's all well and dandy that, like, you have a registered nurse, and then you have a registered nurse with her bachelor's degree. They're both doing the same job, but this one has a higher degree, a more advanced degree, but they're both doing the same job. So some places will give you more money to have your bachelor's degree, some of them won't. In that case, and where I'm working at now, the hospital, I did get a little bit more money for having my bachelor's degree. Now, with that being said, a bachelor's degree really comes in handy if you're going to be in nursing management. That's when the money comes into play. If you are a registered nurse who can manage nursing, but if you are, let's like take this for instance, in my long-term care facility, most of there was a registered nurse who was the DON, who made X amount of money, let's say this. But then there was a registered nurse that came in who had her bachelor's degree. She made a substantial amount more money because she had that advanced degree. So that's where it makes a difference when you start getting into management and more higher levels of nursing, as far as like administrative nursing, stuff like that. So what are the differences? Sorry, I dropped my paper. What are the differences between RNs and BSNs? There's really no difference in these degrees. There are no differences really in these things. Both of them are clinically the same. Far as at the bedside, there is no more than a BSN can do versus just a nurse who has her associates. Like I said, it does come into play if a registered nurse wants to go into management. That's when the bachelor's degree really pins in. If you're at the bedside, there's almost next to no extra compensation. And from what I've understood, most places are not obligated to pay a nurse based on her her having a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree. Because if those degrees are not being utilized far as management skills, they're not obligated to pay you any more money. And I know this because I worked at the long-term care, I worked with a nurse. She was a nurse practitioner at the time, but for some reason she lost her nurse practitioner license. I don't know why, that it was none of my business. But she had a master's degree, but she was at the bedside working alongside me. So they would not pay her according to her degree status because she was at the bedside. So that is the differences between a RN and a registered nurse with her bachelor's degree. Okay, so schooling for a bachelor's degree prepared nurse. Most BSN programs, if you're not an RN already, are 4 years. It is a bachelor's degree. Most bachelor's degrees take 4 years. Depending on your schooling, as a general rule, if you are already a registered nurse, it is going to take you about 2 years to complete your bachelor's degree. However, that was not the same for me because it depended on the program that you're in. If you go to just a standard 4-year university, it's going to take you about 2 years. I did mine a little bit more accelerated because it was online and it took me less than 6 months. So it really depends on how much you're willing to pay. Where do BSNs work? BSNs work everywhere. They're everywhere. They're usually managing some stuff though, but they can work on the floor. BSNs, when you go to become a bachelor's prepared nurse, as I did, there's a lot of education and bachelor's research. What's it called? Evidence-based practice. Evidence-based practice. Community nursing. I had to take statistics, so because you may be handling budgets and money and stuff like that, so they really prepare you for a little bit more of a managerial level of nursing. Like I said, evidence-based practice, community health, statistics, how to manage budgets, research, stuff like that. So they really prepare you to take a higher level of nursing to manage nurses. So that's all I have. I know that was a lot. This video is like almost 20 minutes and I am so sorry. I love you all. Thank you guys so much for being so supportive. So what is coming next? What is next with me? Okay, so listen. I'm trying not to make this video so terribly long. So, okay, so I have already taken some steps to start my master's degree program. Okay, I'm not in school yet, so chill out, calm down. But I have absolutely been talking to programs about getting my master's degree. What am I going to get my master's degree in? Probably education. Do not really want to be a nurse practitioner. However, if later in life it shows that it would be advantageous of me to be a nurse practitioner, I'm going to absolutely do it. Right now, I'm looking to get a master's in nursing education, hopefully starting January 1st or the beginning of January. So mastersmsn.ed is coming soon, you guys. Thank you all for being so encouraging to me. Share these videos. Follow me on Instagram at Adam Dashawn, ADAMDASHAWN. That's it, you guys. DM me on Instagram or DM me on YouTube. I don't know if you can DM people on YouTube. I don't know. But follow me on Instagram if you have any more questions. Comment below this video if you have questions or concerns about any levels of nursing except master's degree, because I don't know, or doctorate degrees. I don't know yet, but I have covered the bases. I am ready to give you everything I have as far as my opinions on stuff. All right, guys. I love you. Bye-bye.